I think this strategy that I use for trading is probably the best strategy I've ever used. And today I want to show you an example of why it's so amazing. And you guys have probably heard of supply and demand zones before. But the thing is, supply and demand zones go into so much more detail than simply drawing a box and then taking the trade. It would be amazing if trading was just simple and all you needed to do was draw the box, wait for it to go in, take the trade, but unfortunately it isn't like that. You need to understand what the market is doing. And this here is a perfect example. I'll show you why. So here in this area, we have massive consolidation. Price is just staying in the exact same zone, followed by a big drop. So what does this tell us? Can you read the story of the charts on what story this is telling us? Leave it down in the comments if you think you know the story. I'm going to explain it right now, so if you want to pause the video, do that now. So the story is, here we are balanced. Buyers and sellers are pretty even. They both agree roughly on the price. But remember, not all buyers and sellers are the same. So as we can see here with this massive drop, sellers begin to believe that this isn't fair value anymore. And this could be for a multitude of reasons. It could be psychology, it could be news. It could just be that there was a big seller here. People saw this big candle, and now they also believe this isn't fair price anymore. That's why we get these massive drops. What's the reason for this? It could be anything. Would it be great to know the reason? Of course it would. But unfortunately, these trades are executed from different people, different firms, different companies. And we don't know why they've chosen to do this. We'll never know why. But what we do know is what's happened. Price has gone down here. Buyers and sellers no longer agree that this is a fair price, and we've shot down until we find a new fair price, which is roughly around here, where the buyers now believe that it's too low, so they start buying it all up. Not too much though, but they do start buying slightly up here before continuing on a further downtrend. Anyway, now let's look at this zone here. We're going to draw just to show you, we're going to draw a box around it. This is just a rough box for now, but I do have certain parameters of how I actually do draw a box, but this is just to show you the example. So this is our supply zone. Now we're going to extend this box out until the next time that price touches this zone. So here we go. This happened on the 17th of December when we drew that zone. And next time we touch it is all the way on the 19th. Now, you may think that that's a long time to wait for a trade, but the thing is, it isn't. You're going to have multiple supply and demand zones across your charts, across multiple companies or indices or crypto, whatever you're trading on, you're going to have multiple of these. So on any given day, you're probably going to be able to get a trade. But that doesn't mean you have to. You don't need to take a trade. It's not a requirement to take a trade. Only if you see a good setup should you take the trade. So as you can see here, we retouch this zone. And I'm going to drop down possibly to a 5-minute time frame. I'm going to take a look there and see if we can find a possible entry. Let's have a look down at the 1-minute time frame. So you have this sudden massive push up into our supply zone. Now there's many different types of entries you can take on this. But remember, what we want to look at is the candle story, the chart story. What is the story this is telling us? And for me personally, I'm not going to say I take my trade here because no one's going to capture the top. More realistically, my trade's probably going to be executed down around here. And the reason for that is, what is this chart and these candles telling me? Well, we've got a massive push up and all of a sudden we reach our supply zone and we can't break it. We can't even stay in it. We get into it. We've touched it. We've picked up orders, but we can't stay in it. And as we push back down to the candle close, we end up outside of the supply zone. So not only have we had this massive buying pressure all the way up to here, but we now also have sellers defending this area. They do not want this area to be hit. So seeing this massive wick here alongside these big candles here tells us that the buyers are going to be running out of momentum soon, which is why I would take my trade at the close of the candle after seeing that we weren't able to stay in the zone. So I'd set my take profit just around here based on these candles here. I'll do a whole separate video talking about how to set take profits. And as you can see, we hit that pretty quickly. Stop loss, you always set just above the high. So in this case, the high is here. So you just want to set it just above. And there you go, a successful trade with a 1.47 risk to reward ratio and a profit of 0.49%. So that's it. Any questions, let me know.